Reading shown by the spring balance in step 1 is more than the second. Okay, so rolling friction is less than sliding friction. So rolling friction is used for the movement of heavy objects, and sliding friction is used for the movement of lighter objects. Okay, now see the next point. Now see some advantages of friction. So see the first point. So friction helps us in walking. When we walk, friction opposes the tendency of our feet or shoes to move backwards in which we want to move. In the absence of friction, we may slip or fall. So this is why it is difficult to move on a wet or very smooth and polished floor without friction. Without friction, we cannot walk, we cannot move, or we cannot run. Second use of friction, cars and buses are able to move safely on roads due to the friction between the treaded tires, means the tires having the special design, okay, and the surface of the road. Then second application or use of friction or frictional force is that when we apply the brakes, the force of friction between the brake and the rim of the wheel allows us to stop a bicycle or moving vehicle. So rim means outer side of the brake. Okay, it is the diameter. Then friction allows us to hold the objects with our hands. Okay, and last, friction allows us to write on the paper. So it is difficult to write on a smooth surface such as glass or polythene due to the absence of friction. So friction is very important for our life activities. Now next is the increasing the friction. What are the different ways by we will increase the friction? So for the understanding, see the first diagram. This diagram is nothing but tire the tire having the special design. There is some grooves in the surface. Okay, so they offers the more friction or frictional force, and they offers the proper gripping when our vehicle is in moving condition, gripping between the road surface and the tire, so that there is a no chance of skidding or slipping of the vehicle. So by this way, by providing some special design, we can increase the friction or frictional force. Then there is another picture. By providing the design below the footwear or shoes, so it will increase the force of friction when we are walking on the road surface between the that footwear and the ground surface. Okay, and again when there is a work of the road, then some sand particles, stone particles are spreading on the new road in order to increase the friction. Okay, so there is a no chance of slipping or skidding. Okay, although there is another application of increasing friction, that is the in case of wrestlers. So wrestlers often using some special type of powder, so it is due to the avoid of the slippage, or in another words, to increase the frictional force or the friction. Okay, so these are the some ways by which we will increase the friction. Now see what are the some disadvantages of friction. So see the first point. So friction produces heat. So fast moving vehicles, fast moving cars, they having the more contact between the ground surface and their wheels. So there is a maximum friction. Due to the maximum friction, maximum pressure develops, maximum temperature develops, and due to that maximum heat energy is also developed. Okay, so due to the heat energy, what happens, there is a chance of bursting or explosion. Okay, there is also chance of wearing and tearing of the material. Wearing and tearing means it is the process of removal of the material of any mechanical equipment due to the high friction or high heat. Also due to the friction there is a loss of energy, there is a loss of the work. Okay, and in the absence of friction there is a chance of slippage. Okay, so these are the some disadvantages of friction. Now we will see the next point. Now next point is reducing the friction. Reducing the friction means how we can minimize the frictional force. Okay, so first is providing the wheels on ball bearings. So you can see the diagram of ball bearing. It is a one mechanical equipment. That ball bearing is used in the axles of the bicycle in order to reduce the friction between the axle and the moving tire. Okay, so many of the students have known this ball bearing that is used in the bicycle. So it is one way of reducing the friction. Okay, it is the metallic body and metallic balls are there. Then next method is oiling or lubrication. If there are the moving parts and there is a joint between that moving parts, then at that joint you have to put some oil or you have to lubricate that part in order to reduce the friction. Okay, then polishing. So polishing will also reduce the friction. And last is the very most important point, which is the streamlining. Okay, so streamlining mostly used in the aeroplanes, because if the aeroplanes are flying at high heights, at high altitudes, so at that altitude there is a resistance, more resistance. Okay, so there is a fluid friction offered by the fuel of the aeroplane, and second resistance is the air resistance. Some air resistance is there. So some special shape is given in order to reduce the drag or reduce the force which is applied on the body of the aeroplane. That shape is the streamline shape or aerodynamic shape, which is used to reduce the fluid friction. Okay, so in this way we have completed the lesson number 4, force and friction. Thank you for watching, and make the comments and ask your doubts in the comments. Thank you.